Hi, my name is Eleni Tsikrikas. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner and educator. And I'm in the fortunate position that I get to spend my days either teaching workshops or helping students who are in accredited courses to become Ayurvedic health counselors through the school that I work for. In my own private practice, I get to see patients, and I get to practice these things in my own life. And so in the course of my teachings, the question that comes up frequently is, what's my dosha? And my favorite question is, what's the best dosha to be? And it's a relevant question, and it's an important question. However, it's kind of like saying, what's my star sign? So my flippant answer is, well, hey, look, you guys, there are 12 star signs, 7 billion people, and somehow we have to fit 7 billion people into these 12 different categories. So some things are going to stick, and some things you're going to go, it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, it's the same thing with Ayurveda. In order for an astrologer to get a clear picture of who you are, you give the astrologer certain information like the day you were born, the time you were born, the hemisphere that you were born in, and then the astrologer goes off and charts who you are in relation to where the planets were, the configuration of the planets on the day and time that you were born, and they give you a much clearer picture of who you are. Well, it's exactly the same thing with Ayurveda. My advice is certainly take a quiz if you want to, do a test. But if you want an accurate understanding of who you are, then you need to spend some time with an Ayurvedic practitioner, because what an Ayurvedic practitioner is going to do for you is they're going to contextualize what Ayurveda is, what its principles are, and then who you are and how you fit into Ayurveda. And additionally, if you decide to take, a journey with an Ayurvedic practitioner because you actually want to use this modality, they will also then give you practices that you can do which will catapult your health, into like a stratosphere of optimum, amazing health. What's interesting about the quizzes is they can be a really great entry point. But what I find is that because you don't have all of the information, there's a tendency to answer the questions really without, either you haven't thought about something before, or what I found, because I know I do it too, is that we tend to put the best version of ourselves forward. And so it kind of becomes interesting because you might go, hey, this is who I am according to the doshas. And so you can identify yourself, but then what are you going to do with it? You don't really have kind of like a modality within which to practice it, but you can identify yourself a particular way. So this is why I think that actually, if you're serious about this, go and see someone and get them to do your chart, so to speak. Okay, but then before we kind of look into what's the best dosha to be, we want to look at what dosha means. We want to look at how dosha fits into Ayurveda. So let's contextualize. First of all, what are the doshas and what do they do? Well, we know that the doshas, or it's called tridosha theory, is part of Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is yoga's sister science. Two sides of the same coin. And as we jokingly say in this house, they got on a plane to come to the States and they took different planes. So people either study yoga or asana, or they study Ayurveda. But really, we're talking about the same modality with tools that overlap. So Ayurveda is 5,000 years old. It's been practiced extensively in India for over 5,000 years. And it's a spiritually based system of healthcare that recognizes that true health comes as a result of working on the physical body, working on the mind, the senses, the emotions, and the spirit. So it's a holistic model. It looks at all aspects of the human. It doesn't just end at the physical body. It goes beyond the physical body, because what Ayurveda says is that everything's connected. Everything is connected. So the body doesn't end and the mind starts somewhere else, and the emotions, everything is in this constant movement and constantly exchanging information between all the parts. So we have an internal environment and we also have an external environment, meaning how, it takes into account things like where do you live, what kind of job do you do, who are you living with, because your external environment influences the body and your internal environment also influences the body. By the way, when I say the body, I'm talking about body, mind, spirit. Okay? Everything is connected. The body is the starting place because it's the gross part, it's what we see. But what we do at the level of the body will affect the quality of your thoughts, will affect your emotions, will affect your spirit. So it is a holistic model. That's number one. Number two, its goal is longevity and health. So at its core, it's a preventative system of medicine. When we don't want to get to a disease state, the goal of Ayurveda is to keep us healthy, and the goal of Ayurveda is, traditionally they would say 120 years. Now they've moved it back to 100, which I'm a little sad about. But I'm happy to live for 100 years, but my goal is to be healthy. I want a flexible body, I want a strong body. It's not going to be the same body that I had when I was 20, but it's going to be strong and flexible, and I'm going to enjoy health. That's its goal. Health of body, health of mind, health of spirit. So at its core, when you find systems like this, one of the things that it has at its core is this concept of self-responsibility. So let's have a look at the word responsibility. Responsibility has within it the word respond. So the principle is that we are not responsible for our disease. So if something happens to you, you're not responsible for it. You didn't do anything bad, there's no morality in the word responsibility. But what Ayurveda does say, and yoga says this as well, is that you have a responsibility to the things that happen to you. So, people say to me, well, why do people get sick? And if I could answer that question, then we wouldn't have any illness. But the reality is that we have a body, and sometimes we get sick. It's like sometimes you get a cold, sometimes you get the flu. Why? A variety of reasons. It's not the thing that happens to us, but it's how we react to the thing that happens to us. What do you do? Do you, in the face of something different happening, just keep doing? So keep eating the same things, going to bed at the same time, thinking the same things, doing the same practices, and not pay attention to what's happening to your body? Or do you change what you eat, how you go to sleep, like the time that you go to sleep, how you think about it, the people that you assemble, the healing team that you assemble around you to get well? That's what we're talking about, responsibility. That if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. And so there's a rigidity that happens. But your ability to change, our ability to take different steps, that's what creates empowerment. So at its core, Ayurveda is this system, this spiritually based system of medicine that is all about prevention and empowerment. So the beautiful thing about responsibility is when you look at the word, I said in the word responsibility is the word respond. You either respond in the same way, you get the same results, you respond in a different way, now you open up the choices that you have, okay? And by learning to respond, or by responding in a different way, you become empowered. And so the flip side of responsibility is power. Borrowing from my favorite show, Once Upon a Time, which deals with magic, and they always talk about like magic comes with responsibility. Well, in Ayurveda, the thing I love the most is, I always say to my students, you're the cause and you're the cure. If you created it unintentionally, you can change it, you can cure it. So the ultimate power and responsibility lies with us. And that makes my heart sing. I get so excited when I think that I can play a role in my healing. again, these modalities talk about how we are very, very powerful, but we have to learn to recognize, we have to become aware of our habits. So let's go back to dosha. We want to look at the word dosha. This is how I want to finish up. And I wanted to let you know that the word dosha has many, many meanings depending on the context within which it's used. So there are 4 meanings that I'm going to talk about today. One is dosha refers to your constitution, or are you vata, are you pitta, are you kapha? But really there are 7 different, so 7, I'm holding up the right amount of fingers, yes. There are 7 different configurations that you can be. So it means, what's my genetic DNA? What's my constitution? It also means, what's my current state? Now, your current state is generally what's going on for you right now, but do you have symptoms? If you have symptoms, then those symptoms may be different to what your constitution is. So it describes who you are, what's going on for you right now. So who you are, your constitution is referred to as prakriti. Your current state is your vikruti. And as I said, if there are symptoms, then we need, those symptoms are covering up who you really are. It then refers to seasons, so fall and early winter are vata season. Yes, fall and early winter are vata. Late winter and spring are kapha, and summer is pitta. So the seasons resonate with the doshas. It also refers to times of day. So there are 2 12-hour periods, 24-hour day. We split the day into 2, and so you have 4 hours. So the first part of the morning is kapha, usually between 6 and 10 in the morning. The second part of the day from 10 to 2 is pitta, and then the third part of the day from 2 to 6 is vata, and then that cycle repeats itself again. In the evening, early evening is kapha, from 10 to 2 is pitta, and then from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is vata. And I always, have you ever noticed how at some point, between 6 and 10, I know I do, I start to yawn a lot. My body's like winding down, getting ready for bed, and routinely I have work to do, and so I might sit down to do some work at 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, and then before I know it, it's 11, and then that second wind has kicked in, and I can't get to sleep, I'm too excited. And that's that pitta, that's the fire of pitta that kind of kicks in at 10 o'clock. We'll talk more about practices, why the times of day are conducive to doing certain practices. And then the dosha also refers to the stages of digestion. So let me go back and say, it refers to your constitution, your current state or imbalance, and we also look at disease in terms of the doshas, the seasons, the times of day, the stages of digestion. So this is the word dosha. So what we want to kind of get a sense of is that when depending on what you're looking at, we want to contextualize what the word means. So before we're going to get to you, we're going to look at what are the general functions of the 3 doshas, because kapha, pitta, and vata reside in every single body, in everyone's physical constitution, their physical, mental, and emotional. But again, before we get to you, there are the general functions that we want to look at. So that will be in our next video.